from the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today I'm very pleased. Joining me, Dr. Nico Augustin. Dr. Nico, he is a researcher and expedition director at OceanQuest. We're gonna talk a lot about things related to the sea and the deep sea, but without wasting the time and taking from the spotlight of my guests. What I always like to do is I keep to my guests to introduce themselves. So, Dr. Nico, tell us more about you, your journey. What brought you to this, exciting domain about maritime geology, and the things that you are doing currently, and then we can start discussion from there. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, good morning, Mehmet. Thanks for having me. What to say? I was born and raised up in Eastern Germany in the Star Wars year 1977. And well, I got my first inspiration to the deep sea, and so the contact to the deep sea by watching the old shows of Jacques Cousteau, actually in the Western TV, because in Eastern Germany it was not so easy, and my grandparents had a hidden antenna in the attic, and we could watch the Jacques Cousteau shows, which was very exciting to me. There was another movie, actually. I was inspired by movies and pictures, and from 1955, I guess. It was a Czech movie, and it was the journey to the beginning of time with dinosaurs and all this stuff. And that basically led me, I think, in the end to study geology and paleontology. I tried to become a dinosaur hunter, but life developed different, and also the studies, and I became a marine geochemist, but did not really liked the lab work too much, and I transitioned into a marine mapper. And that was basically the continuous curiosity and the desire to explore unknown landscapes deep in the sea. And even though the path was not really linear during my career, I eventually led large-scale exploration projects at my former institute, the Geomar Helmholtz Center for Ocean Research in Kiel in northern Germany, where I then spent over 20 years, actually, as a later senior researcher, and coordinated seagoing expeditions, and had a focus on the Red Sea in the end for almost 15 years. Today I'm the head of the Research and Expeditions Department here at OceanQuest in Saudi Arabia, a very young non-for-profit foundation that supports deep ocean discovery and innovation and capacity building as well.
Great, and thank you again, Dr. Nico, for being here with me today. I know, for someone like yourself, how much things can get busy. So giving me this time today to chat a little bit with you, this is something I really appreciate. Now, fun fact, I watched the documentaries you watched when I was like younger. I remember waiting them from Sunday to Sunday, because this is where the time they were giving it. And when we talk about discoveries in general, and especially when you specialize in something, I figured out many scientists and researchers, they would be going after some kind of proofs and theories, and this is get built, so they start to build these ones based on the research they do. So for you, was there any one expedition or discovery maybe earlier in your career that cemented this belief in the importance of ocean exploration, from geological, biological, or even technological
There was maybe the one or the other expedition that really cemented the career. But surprisingly, it was not. I think it was not the first or the second expedition that I had, because I was as a student helper on my first expedition, and also as a student helper on the second expedition, which was exciting and totally new. I went to the Hawaiian volcanoes underwater. I went to the North Pole, actually, in a very early career. But it was the expeditions during my early PhD years, actually, that were truly the interdisciplinary expeditions. So before that, you are a helper. You don't identify too much with the expedition itself or with the research behind it. It's exciting, it's great, of course, but you are not too deep in. And during the PhD studies, I was really part of the expedition, because I had my own work, I had my own responsibilities, I had my own questions, and that was much more personal and therefore also transformative. I also very much liked the interdisciplinarity of these expeditions. It was my first expeditions were not super diverse, and these expeditions during my PhD were together with colleagues from the biology, from geochemistry, from water chemistry, you name it, and to learn from everyone, to work together on the big picture. That was very transformative. So that was the early expeditions to the middle of the Atlantic, actually, that sparked my interest. I was a geochemist at this time still, so I worked on some questions, how rocks change under certain circumstances. But yeah, and it's also what I like. I mentioned interdisciplinarity a few times now, and diversity in research topics, and that's also what I like here at OceanQuest at the moment, because that's how we define ocean science, that we bring together scientists, engineers, storytelling, media, early career researchers, and so together to explore together and share the discoveries as well. So this thought, you can't do it alone, was every time behind me as well. So that's, yeah,
Cool.
that is how I cemented the thought to stay in the research.
Very, very inspiring, Dr. Nico. Now, so we're talking about discoveries and big discoveries. So maybe you can give us some of these that maybe you have done even recently at OceanQuest, like anything you can highlight to us. And I know, like, you did a lot of things also in on the Red Sea also as well. Like anything you can mention to us.
I can give you a few examples. I will keep it very brief.
Sure.
The first one would be, that was a very surprising discovery in the Atlantic Ocean, actually. That was before my Red Sea time really starts, or actually in between. You never work on just only one topic in research. But when we were mapping in the Atlantic, then we found in our maps and in the hydroacoustic data, so basically the acoustic signals from the seafloor, we found something that looked to us like lava flows where we would not have expected them. And these lava flows turned out to be only, in geological timescales, only 40,000 years old, and they were laying on 20 million years old oceanic crust. And so we went there to study them a little bit more in detail, and found out that the chemistry of these lava were completely different from the surrounding area, and also completely different from what we found elsewhere. And we probably have here a new style of so-called intraplate volcanism. We are still working on the results and having a new paper hopefully submitted very soon. In the Red Sea, it was quite surprising to me, because I started working in the Red Sea about 15 years ago and had no idea about the Red Sea. I just had a few textbooks knowledge. I got a new position. We started mapping in the Red Sea, and somehow the structures that we mapped were somehow not really fitting to what I learned from the textbooks. And here, basically, we took some old data and some new data, and interpretations of old data we reinterpreted, because of sometimes you can interpret data in different ways, based on your background knowledge. And so we basically saw that the Red Sea Rift, what was always thought to be a little bit odd or different than other opening oceans, open ocean or young ocean basins, that the Red Sea is actually like all the others, but with some own oddities in between. So it was very nice work that we could here bring the Red Sea along with the global ocean, mid-ocean ridge system. So that was something new, that was exciting. It was also hard to publish, to be honest, because if you have something new in your mind and that's not really widely accepted knowledge, then it's often hard to do something like that. And the most exciting in the recent years, which is very recent, was that we found the first hydrothermal vent systems in the Red Sea. It was always inferred that there are some hot water springs coming out at the seafloor. There are some areas in the Red Sea that were known and believed to be hydrothermal, but it was never visually seen and never observed with a diving robot under with the life around, and so that was really exciting. That we searched for them for many years already, and finally we could find them a couple of years ago. And we are still working together with the colleagues here at the KAUST University, where we are located, and also others. We are still working on these hydrothermal vent fields in the Red Sea, which is very, very exciting to us.
Great. Please go ahead.
This kind of discoveries is basically also what I really like, because it brings together science, technology. If you find something visually appealing as well, then you can do some nice storytelling about the exploration and discoveries as well. So it's not only exciting to us, it's also exciting to the public quite often. And maybe the chemistry of a lava flow is not too exciting to the more general public, but hydrothermal vent fields and opening of ocean basins, I think that's quite interesting. And the entire thing around, it's also what we like here at OceanQuest as well. Basically, it's really this discovery thing, the new stuff, high risk research, right? That is what we like to do.
Cool. Dr. Nico, maybe listeners or if someone, just saw even the episode title when it goes out, they would, wonder, I'm sure, and I wonder myself, when we talk, about, exploration of deep sea, right, and oceans, what does the process looks like? I know it's a very loaded question, right? But I mean, maybe probably, on a high level, what's involved? I know, pretty sure you need to do some scanning at the beginning, and then, deciding what's the best spot to start the exploration from. And then, so if you can unpack this process to us, how does it look like? And maybe, what is the most challenging part technically in all this?
Sure. As you said, it's not very straightforward in most cases, and we don't have a receipt that we always use for every single expedition. But in general, you can say we always start with some kind of mapping. So we use the multi-beam sonars that we have on our ships for creating the first maps. So you get a 3D imagination of the seafloor. It's kind of Google Earth, but in a much better and higher resolution. And then we can see the structure of our targets that we have. Every expedition usually also starts with a general question anyway. But we need those maps to get a feeling for how the terrain looks in detail, and also to prepare the dives with our vehicles. So if you have an autonomous vehicle that needs to know roughly at least how the surface down there is looking. And you also need these maps for planning your robot dives, so you can interpret the structures and say, well, I'm looking for this or that feature, and this or that feature might be connected to this and that structure that I see in my maps. once we have the maps and we have the vehicles in the water, we also want to then collect our data, of course. We collect video data, photos, but also with the manipulation arms of the vehicles, we can collect rocks, fluid samples, sediments, biological samples, of course. We basically also ground truth what we see in the maps and what we interpret from the maps. And then, of course, we need to do a lot of data integration and analysis. That we merge the mapping with the imaging and the samples that we get. And this is basically also connected to the technical challenges. So we have an extreme environment with a high pressure. There's no GPS signal, there's no light. So we need to can only work with acoustic signals in the deep. Basically, most of the time try to explore blind, kind of, because you can't see far. The light is also not reaching far that we have on our vehicles. The data volume is huge sometimes. Nowadays, we're collecting 4K, 8K video, and so you collect terabytes per mission. So that's you need to deal with all this data, and then integrating everything is also a very big challenge afterwards. Then so we have tons of data, and so this is also with our expeditions in future that we need to combine. So you have the people's experience. Yeah, so the people's experience is basically defining the mission planning, so we know for what we look often. Or at least we have an idea for what we are looking. But we need to have the robots in the water and high computing power and ideas how to combine all the data into the big picture. So there's not the patent for the expedition, but we follow some certain protocols, of course. And we need to
Great.
reflect.
Yeah. Like, like this is really looks very exciting, and you're mentioning data and you're mentioning analysis and you're mentioning, all these things. And of course, like there's these what we used even like back in the days to see them on the TV, when I was even kid, like these equipments and special equipments that you need to manufacture sometimes just for these use cases is like high pressure because when you go deep in the sea or in the ocean, like you need to have the thing that can support that kind also. Now mentioning all this and talking about technology, um how are you seeing what's happening as emerging technology, I mean in parallel, like whether it's AI, whether it's like I don't know, digital twins, I don't know, like plenty of technologies happening in parallel. How you see these affecting, or let's say transforming the ocean explorations, from your perspective?
So I think there's not the one technology. It's more that we need to evolve more what we have already. So we have autonomous diving systems. We have camera guided systems. The ROV, remotely operating vehicles. We have the autonomous. I already said we have different camera systems, different sensors available that we use all the time. The problem is often that these systems are often not connected very well, and we have maybe one autonomous vehicle in the water and one remotely operated vehicle in the water, but not a multitude. And these, if we could accelerate, and there's AI maybe coming into the game, if you could accelerate the autonomy about what is the word? So the vehicles need to become more autonomous and more reliable. Need to be able to make own decisions if needed, and communicate somehow. So I'm not an engineer, but I would wish that they can communicate much better. And then we can enable, for instance, AOV swarms, so that you have multiple vehicles at the same time in the water to make the deep sea research much more effective, because the ocean is vast. It's a huge area, and we always cover only a very small bit of the seafloor. And if we can accelerate the effectiveness of the ocean research. So we have many tools already at hand, but they are not effective enough for the moment. And that's maybe something that I could think of in the future, so that we have AI tools that make the vehicles talk and bring them to own decisions. If there's an obstacle, I avoid it and continue my mission. If I find a signal what the scientists are searching for, I can see it and I follow it. Now that's not possible at the moment. I can tell the vehicle that is operating just a kilometer across this abyssal plain, oh, here I found something, come over and help me mapping this or something like that. That would be very helpful.
Cool. Yeah, this is something I'm expecting it not only in your domain, but in every single domain. But to your point, like AI being able to de-risk probably maybe some of these explorations sometimes, doctor, maybe, right? So yeah.
There's maybe one more thing is to say that digital twinning is also a nice thing to do. I mean, it is done partially today already that we try to create a digital a copy of a real system that we can start to play with different settings. So what happens if wind change? What happens if currents change? What happens if the sea gets warmer? What happens if an environmental accident happens? Yeah, so that you can have tools for crisis management, for climate management, and so on. But also at sea, those things would be very handy, that you have a live digital twin of your working area, that humans and AI can start together, make a very, very effective mission planning. That's the goal. That's the data that we have. How can we make it as efficient as possible? And so that's also something what we here at OceanQuest have on our agenda to push this forward, to go into the direction of robotic swarms, have ocean twinning, multi-vehicle exploration, and these topics. So it's very exciting to be here, actually, because this is the topics that we want to change.
Absolutely. And what you're mentioning, intersects with what, AI experts are saying in all other domains about collaboration between humans and the machines. It's not like the machine gonna go by itself and do exploration, so still the human aspect is needed. And this is, some of my guests, they call it like co-worker. Some of them, they call it like, co-planner, name it whatever you want. But it's like, it's like you have someone helping you. It's like a machine helping you in maybe the repetitive task, the task that needs a lot of compute and planning, and then you focus on the main thing. Now, recently, we've done an expedition called Around Africa, and you mapped around or maybe over 2,600 kilometer squares of seafloor, and you engaged hundreds of African students. Like, why was this expedition designed the way it was, and what were the major outcomes, like both on scientific perspective, technological, and even social?
Yeah, so the Around Africa expedition was a joint mission between OceanQuest and OceanX. And it was built on an opportunity, actually, that, as you may know, OceanQuest does not have an own ship at the moment. We are working on that. And the opportunity was that the research vessel from OceanX, the Ocean Explorer, had to go to Europe for some maintenance, some planned maintenance, and also to be at the UNOC, the UN Ocean Conference, this year, where we also have been with OceanQuest. And it turned basically, we knew about this transit, and we were communicating with OceanX to turn this pure transit into a research voyage and a training expedition. So we invited scientists from all over Africa. So it was South Africa and Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, but also the islands, Comoros, then some from Madagascar. We had some guests from South America and Europe as well. And South Africa and Cabo Verde were leading two of the science legs during this expedition. So we invited all the scientists to join us for some research time. And in between the research time, we had transit legs where we invited young career scientists to come with us for some training. The expedition started in Comoros. We worked then on the seamount south of Madagascar. Quite a time. This target was chosen because it was a former fishing ground, heavily overfished, and which is now slowly recovering it is a marine protected area since 2018, and that's why we wanted to have a look there. How is it recovering? It's doing okay. It's not that fast recovering, but it's doing okay. On the way to Cape Town, we met then some other seamounts as well. Weather and wind, of course, prohibited that we did more there. That happens at sea. And in Cape Town, the ship was then open for public outreach. So that were also many students, school students, university students, interested public could visit the vessel, learn about ocean research. There was a lot of outreach activities. And we also had a workshop with the colleagues in Cape Town to discuss about the expedition, about next steps. Then this continued via Namibia to Cabo Verde, where we had then lots of so-called ECOPS, early career ocean professionals on board that learned about sampling strategies, mapping, and so on. You name it. We had some faculty on board as well that then trained the students, or that's not the students, it's the early careers. They were then trained in some special techniques as well. And yeah, in the end, we had then one other research leg offshore Cabo Verde, where we studied the double seamount system, partially even together with the German research vessel, the Meteor. So we shared some work and shared some mapping and hydroacoustics data and also some video footage. And it ended in the end in Gran Canaria after another short training cruise. So that was the main thing of the Around Africa expedition, was not just getting new maps on the transit and some new data on the seamounts. It was really this bringing together the research community in the area as well, and building also trust and collaboration across all the regions, which was really, really nice. And from our perspective at OceanQuest and OceanX as well, a very big success.
Good to know, and looks like it was an exciting, real journey. Actually, it's not like a virtual journey; it was a real journey.
Yes,
Adventurous, but yet also like has a lot of purpose. Now, mentioning about all these things, Dr. Nico, like running these expeditions and taking care of all the logistics, and you have multiple things going on, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned also like you operate a non-profit, right? So I mean I concluded that also like maybe there will be some budget constraints. There are like remote operations, high stakes. There are like risks, all kinds of risk. So and so what kind of lessons, leadership lessons, can be extracted, I would say, uh, that you might share either with people who are in the same domain, or you think like this can apply for even business people.
So every expedition, I mentioned that before already briefly. Every expedition starts with a clear mission, goal, or statement. So you can't do whatever you want with your precious time at sea. So that there's the budget constraints, right? I mean, in marine research, time is money, literally. So the more every minute, every hour costs a lot of money. It's like in space exploration as well. And so you need to have a mission statement. So basically, the clarity of the purpose needs to be there. And I think that's also applying for young companies, that you should define yourself. What is the aim? What is the goal? And then every decision basically becomes a bit easier for your journey and for your, in our case, expeditions. What is very important, even if you have this mission statement, you also need to plan for a lot of uncertainty. At sea, things never go really as planned. We have the joke in the community that you're handing in your working plan, and the working plan you basically can destroy in the moment you leave the port, because things will never go as planned, but you can stick to it as good as possible. And at sea, there's the weather, the equipment maybe is not working, the weather is not cooperating. You don't have the permit in time if you work in foreign waters. So in our case, the success comes from being prepared for some changes. Be flexible with your plan, and also trust the team basically to adapt. So if the team starts to be scared because things are not working out, well, then you are lost. But if you have the teamwork, then and you brainstorm together, what can we do? What shall we change? How can we adapt? So this is very important. Speaking about the team is then basically also the empower the team and don't micromanage. So it's basically you don't want to control everything. What happens if the chief scientist is sleeping? Do we need to wake him up or her? It's sometimes the team should be able to make important decisions. Also, you have different shifts on a ship, so teams need to be empowered and not micromanaged. So that's also when you have a company, so you basically hire smart, and you need to delegate clearly, but you have to trust the company, the competence of your people as well. And that's also also when people are trusted, it's the same on the ship as well. If I'm trusting the early career student or professional, so that the young PhD student or the younger scientist, well, they feel then also more accountability, because it's their responsibility now, and they also try to work together with you. That brings then also the communication in play. So you need to plan for uncertainty. You have to empower your people, but you also need to communicate as clear as possible and as calm as possible. I mean, it's not helping if you are in bad weather and the time is short and you have to bring the ROV, the remotely operating vehicle or your robot into the water, or you planned like this and then you're panicking and start to scream around because stuff is not working. No, you need to remain as calm as possible, listen to your people, to your team, and make the decisions when the time is there. It might not be the perfect decision. It might not be the real one, but you have to take a decision at some time, which is then based on what you know and to fulfill the goals as good as possible. And also, if something went good or not good, so reflect on this afterwards. So talk with your team, not to blame people, but to learn. So basically that you have lessons learned sessions. And you don't need to make a self-help group after every action that you are taking, but basically usually I have it on my expeditions always every day. You have a team meeting, you're discussing the next steps the next day, but also discuss things which were maybe not working very well. So it comes all together to clarity, trust, and
Adaptability.
Adaptability. Thank you.
Yeah.
And keep the hierarchies low, because if you have very strong hierarchies, it may work in some environments, but it's not working on this expedition environment. The roles need to be clearly defined, of course, but if the environment is not predictable, then your team is the more reliable system. And if you then have super strong and high hierarchies, that's also maybe not the best way to work.
It's
what
no, but yeah, what what I can take myself from what you mentioned, Dr. Nico, is like there's an old saying that I'm not sure which language is it, but like the ocean teaches people also to be patient, and uh, also they say like sometimes the sea can change mood, at any time.
Yeah.
And it's like all when you are doing these expeditions, like you're passing through multiple leadership tests at the same time. And what came to my mind, like maybe as part of a leadership program, they should they should send them, maybe not of course like months, but I don't know, maybe to explore the ocean with someone like yourself, or to see like really how you act, for different circumstances. And you just gave us like a couple of examples. Now, one thing quickly, because we mentioned about also the planning and all this. How are you seeing, or like do you think there's enough collaboration with the private sector, when it comes to this sector? Do we have enough support, I would say, when it comes to collaboration, or like there's still some work to be done?
We do actually collaborate already a lot with young companies, startups in the area of marine operations. So there are many companies that are building robotic systems. There are many companies that building software solutions and sensor solutions. And it's always nice to get fresh ideas into the system, right? So it's often that science and startups aim for different or for the same outcome, but they speak kind of different languages. That's something what might sometimes is maybe a little bit tricky, but we have shared goals, and so it would be nice, or it is actually nice, and this is something for younger startups or people that maybe think about going in this direction, to establish or to have partnerships that add a real value for both sides. So a good strategy is to work together with the science and then work on the tools and the solutions that are actually needed, not just develop something and no one needs it in the end. So the good thing is, like I already mentioned, maybe have software solutions for better communications and autonomy of vehicles underwater. Develop sensors that are really needed in any ocean-related environment, if it's the science or monitoring or whatever. Work on data platforms that can benefit both communities, because we are collecting a lot of data, but maybe there are startups that could also work with the data. So that goes in both directions, that's open data and interoperability is possible. And scientists are usually not the best programmers for those things. So that's what we also then young minds that could generate software that is helping to work with all the data that we are generating. And so that this is also something what we think of here at OceanQuest, actually, that we can also serve as a connector, so to bring together scientists, engineers, and the startups together at sea, because it has been done in the past, it will be done in the future. And it's for the region here in Saudi Arabia, it's also a very exciting possibility, because for young companies, for young minds to open startups in the blue economy, so to say, to work together with us and other research institutes as well.
Right. And this is, you mentioned nicely now, relating to the next question that I had. We studied this in geography books since we are kids, and still hopefully they are teaching the same, that oceans cover, 70% of Earth's surface, right? Yet there are a lot of things which we don't know. Like we know, like maybe we scan the moon more than we scan the deep ocean. Um, what else we can discover? What do you think, what excites you, Dr. Nico, from both geological and maybe technological perspectives, about things we don't know about the deep ocean?
Yeah, I mean, knowing more about the moon or the Mars is comparably easy. You basically just have to look, right? I mean,
Right.
there's no water, and water is that what makes the ocean research so hard. So for the expedition, the excitement never fades away. There's not the one thing that I want to find or so, but with every expedition that we are doing, we find something new, something unexpected, possibly as well, and so yeah, we always feel like explorers. The real frontier, I would say, so the deep ocean is the real frontier. So with saying deep in fat letters and bold letters, because this is vastly understudied. It's a huge area of the ocean, and it's largely unmapped, and it for sure hosts ecosystems that we don't know of yet. It will host life forms that we don't know yet, that we have never seen. And this is exciting enough already that we can go down at any deep spot, and it will be different in some aspects than the spot that we visited before. Before our time and before modern multi-beams were in action, so the mapping devices for the deep ocean, and before we had the high resolution maps, many scientists in geology, in biology, thought that the deep ocean plains are just, flat. They are plain, they are full of sediment, they are boring, there's nothing happening. But we do know in the meantime that also the deep ocean is an active environment. It's geologically active, it's biologically active. There are big mountains, there are huge cliffs, fractures that won't wait to be explored, basically. And even if you have a large group of seamounts, so and underwater mountains that are standing in the deep of the ocean, they are oases of life, and not one seamount is exactly looking like the other. It's not like that you can visit one of the seamounts to make some biological assessment, look who is living there, what is living there, what is the geology. The next seamount might be completely different. It's maybe geologically and morphologically very close, but the biology will most certainly be completely different. The community, the ecosystem is different. And that has then to do with ocean currents and so on and so on. So yeah, the entire deep ocean system is super understudied. And there's, again, it's so big that just one research vessel or one robot will not make a difference. And that's why I was talking about this interconnected autonomous fleets.
Mhm.
And I think at the moment there's a lot of push and a lot of will in the international community that we are at the moment moving towards a truly systematic global scientific exploration. So it's and this is one of Earth's last frontiers. I mean, space is the one, of course, but I think we are doing quite well there already, and it's super exciting as well. I'm a fan, but the deep ocean, this is really challenging, and systematic research of the deep is really important.
How do we encourage more people to be in this, Dr. Nico? Like, I know, yeah, you mentioned space, like maybe space attract people because of, some fascinations we see, but they forget, like, hey, we have something much closer, to us, which is our own oceans than the stars. Don't get me wrong, as to your point, I'm excited about space also as well. But I mean, what can be done? I mean, should we encourage? Yeah, and I mean, who should take the lead and encourage like more to happen in this space? Like, is it like something that governments have to do? Is it like universities they have to offer and promote these programs more? Like, or is it like just a collective, I would say, effort among everyone?
The collective effort, I think, is a good buzzword here, because oceans science is hard to communicate, because
Mm.
we don't see much. So you cannot just go down there and make a nice photo and publish it, and everyone is excited. Of course, there are photos, but they are often very narrow. You don't get the big landscape. I mean, take a Hubble image of the deep field, just pointed to an empty spot in space, and it turned out to have thousands of galaxies in one shot. No one awaited, pushed out by media, and it's super exciting. If what the scientists find maybe a jellyfish very exciting, and that's maybe not directly what's exciting many people that don't like jellyfish, because they are not so nice and stingy when they go for a swim in the ocean. So I think to show or to bring the excitement about deep ocean research back, how it was in the 60s, 70s with the series from Jacques Cousteau, and so that was a real excitement. And we, as the community in science and always in media, also in media, in my opinion, we need to report more positive about the ocean. It's often that the ocean is seen only negative. There's the monster waves. There is, of course, we cannot negate climate change. The ocean is getting warmer. The ocean is under threat in many cases. But this is the only thing it's the major thing what you see in media quite often. It's the negative things. But there's also the great discoveries, like beautiful bacterial landscapes connected to hot water springs under the ocean, beautiful underwater lakes because of high salinity, salty lakes underwater. There are the rift systems, there are active volcanoes, there are the seamounts with huge reefs of corals that are independent from sunlight. So there's a lot of excitement or exciting things to show to the community as well. And if you show the positive things of the ocean, then it may also helps protecting it a bit more. So at the moment, from my perspective, I always see that it's the important, but it's only the bad news that make it to the media, not the exciting stuff. Even though in space exploration, you photograph a star that has an unusual color and it's all over the media, right? And it's this difference. So the marine realm is not very represented in media, but we know that already since years, and there are many teams working on that. I think there's even 1 or 2 or 3 papers published about why is space exploration doing so much better in public outreach than marine exploration. And I think this positiveness is one of the things, and it's hard to show how it looks like. And then it comes down to, if people want to be involved in marine research, it's not only the researchers. I mean, you don't need to have a PhD degree to do marine research. You can also, the easiest thing is become a crew member. I mean, just become a seafarer, and then you can already experience the sea. You can do internships. You can do, there are countless entry points basically in school programs. There are, of course, the blue tech startups, what we are talking about. There are citizen science projects. So there are access points to connect to ocean research. But yeah, it's the task of all of us media scientists and so on to push it a bit more into the public awareness again.
Right. This is, it's like a call to action from you, Dr. Nico, also as well. And, um, to me, this is something that should be exciting to all of us, right? So it's, because like I compare it to when like a child discovering, his or her own bodies, and what they can do with it, and so like for us, like we are people of this earth, and we should be able to understand this earth that we've been living on since thousands of years, like what else, like what kind of things we can discover, we can benefit for the rest of the humans. So this is what personally, although like I'm not a scientist, but I would be interested to follow what happens in that domain. Now, as we are coming close to the end, like final question to you, Dr. Nico, anything, maybe I didn't ask, you want to mention it, and how people can get in touch?
So I would like to mention this one. I think it's not really a quote, but I think Jacques Cousteau said it at some point, that people protect what they love, and they love what they know. And I really like this thinking, because we were talking about, we don't know that much about the deep sea. If we know more, then we may learn to love it, and we are also more eager to protect it, especially in the light of all the discussions which are going on at the moment about deep sea mining. And so, and I would really like to stress one more time that in the marine sciences, and also here at OceanQuest, we do scientific exploration. So this is really that we focus on the questions how the system is working, and this is what is really exciting. We have and because the exploration wording is also lost a little bit of its meaning in the last years, because if someone is talking about exploration, it's often connected to the negativity again, about, oh, you are only exploring the deep ocean because you want to find the precious metals, and that's actually not the case. Even if I found a hydrothermal system, I'm interested in the ecosystem around. How is the system working? Why is it there? What is it producing, of course, but it's the curiosity-driven thought. What I would like to mention here one more time.
No worries.
You can
how can they get in touch?
In touch, very easy. So we have a website online. It's oqfoundation.org. And you can also find us on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and on X.
Cool.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Absolutely. So, all the links will be available for the audience. They can see them in the show notes. Feel free to get in touch and find more about what Dr. Nico and the rest of the team are doing in that space. I really enjoyed the discussion with you today. Like it's kind of exciting. It's like fascinating, especially as I was telling you, discovering our own planet. Like it's our thing, right? And people sometimes, especially in these busy times when everyone is talking, about the next big thing, AI, and all. So we forget, like, we have nature just around us, and we can go and discover. And oceans, of course, are part of this. So thank you very much, Dr. Nico, for also reminding us on this. And finally, this is how I end my episode. This is for the audience. If you just, discovered this podcast, thank you for passing by. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did so, give me a favor, follow us and share it with your friends and colleagues. And if you are one of the people who keeps coming in again, who are loyals and they listen all the time, thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for your feedbacks. I really appreciate all of this. And as I say always, stay tuned for a new episode very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mehmet. Bye-bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.